This is part 3 of my series on my N-gauge model railway project. Part 1 was just an intro to the project and to my background with the railways. Part 2 covered setting up a baseboard, selecting and obtaining track, initial layout design and track laying. This part will cover some initial scenic items up to the creation of my first country station, with a bit more personal background related to that. Around the time I was involved in obtaining track and setting up the initial layout, I came across a gentleman who ran a business called British Model Trains in Cambridge, Ontario, just up the road from where I live. His business focused mainly on OO gauge, and he really didn't carry N-gauge rolling stock, unfortunately, but he did have something of a range of N-gauge items, it turned out, after some digging through some of his various categories. So I corresponded with him and ended up going up to Cambridge and picking up a bunch of stuff from him. Chiefly scenic items, though I did buy the only 2 N-gauge wagons that he had, Pico box cars in a Brit Rail livery. But I figured I could repaint them. So, here you can see an overview of the stuff that I bought from British Model Trains. Several Metcalfe card kits, a Kestrel plastic station kit set, a couple of Ratio plastic kits, quite a number of P&D Marsh items in white metal, mostly pre-painted, but a couple requiring assembly and or painting. I also got some tools and materials, a loco servicing cradle, a powered wheel cleaner, a track cleaning block, and some glue and paint. Here's just a close-up of some of the items. These are some P&D Marsh pre-painted figures and vehicles, all chosen to fit in with my pre-nationalisation in the Midlands theme, so the vehicles are all from the 1930s or earlier. None of these items have actually been placed on the layout yet, as I'm still working on some structural issues. So I decided to start at the simple end with the kit building, which was definitely wise, as some of these kits turned out to be distinctly tricky to build, especially the Ratio kits. Well, I'm not going to get to that in this video, but I will in the future. Here are the first 2 things that I built: a station magazine and newspaper stand built from a Metcalfe card kit, and a water tower which was part of the Kestrel plastic station kit. The Metcalfe kits are excellent. High quality, and though some of them are quite complex, they are well thought out and the instructions are clear, so if you take your time and have a fairly steady hand and decent eyesight, assembly shouldn't really be a problem. The Kestrel kits lean to the basic side. They're very simple and easy to put together. They could definitely benefit from some additional work to improve the final appearance, which I may get round to later, but for now I've just gone with basic assembly. Here's the main platform and station building component of the Kestrel station set. And here you can see the station itself, the water tower and the signal box, which comprise the entire contents of this kit set. You can buy these items separately, but I bought the station set, which included all of these. Here in front of the Kestrel station on my workbench are the 2 Pico wagons, now with their original Brit Rail orange and grey livery painted over to plain brown. And here are those 2 wagons behind the first London, Midland and Scottish loco that I received, the Fowler 060 tender engine coming over the viaduct by the shed area. I didn't construct those shed buildings myself. I was lucky enough to find someone local selling those on Kijiji already built as you see them. Next, a little diversion. I wanted to name the country station I was building, and I wanted to use a name that meant something to me. I spent my childhood years living on Colchester Road in Leicester, and the Leicester branch of the Great Northern Railway, part of the LNER after amalgamation, ran under the end of our road. So as kids we played around that railway underpass, seeing the dirty black steam locos of the late BR days pulling goods trains through. Passenger service, other than the odd excursion train to Skegness, ended in 1957 before I was old enough to be allowed to go to the end of the road. The line closed completely in the beaching cuts of 63-64, and after that we walked along this used line, scrounging for souvenirs. The next station out from the city was on Station Lane in Scraptoft. We just called it Scraptoft Station, though apparently its official name was Scraptoft and Thurnby. Scraptoft village being at one end of Station Lane and Thurnby across the Uppingham Road at the other end of Station Lane. In the other direction along the line towards the city centre, the line ran along the edge of Humberston Park, so providing us with a pleasant route to the park. And the next station was on the Humberston Road, just near East Park Road. The line was elevated and went over the Humberston Road here, so to get to the station you had to go up the stairs by the bridge. Here is a view of the bridge and the end of the station. That's the signal box right by the bridge, and you can see the main station buildings behind it. This picture was taken a bit before my time, as I don't actually recall seeing trams operating in Leicester. They were withdrawn when I was very young, though my Uncle Stan used to be a tram driver. This is the real Scraptoft station, with a steam loco pulling in an inbound train. Anyhow, given this background, I decided to call the country station on my layout Scraptoft, and I wanted to make the appropriate custom signs for it. Here's a picture of an actual LMS station sign. Yes, the real Scraptoft station was Great Northern and then LNER, not LMS, but I'm making my layout LMS since that is the company that my granddad worked for after amalgamation. Before that he worked for the Midland Railway. So I'm sticking with LMS. And here's the metal nameplate from another LMS station sign showing the company Crimson Lake colour, though I think it actually appears a bit paler and brighter in this picture than it really should. So I took the black and white picture of the whole sign, reduced it to an appropriate size, and coloured it. Then I cloned it and changed the lettering to Scraptoft. I did this in Corel Photo Paint on my PC. I found that my rather ancient colour printer insisted on printing the signs looking green even when they were clearly red on the screen, so I had to make them purple-pink to get them come out close to the correct colour when printed. I printed the signs, adjusted to the right size, and stuck them to the name boards for the Kestrel station. And here's the station in place on the layout, north of the shed area. You can see that I've also started to rough in the roads here using strips cut from Metcalfe asphalt sheets. And here's the other end of the station with the water tower and the signal box. Another view showing the roughed in roads not stuck down at all at this point. And then here things are a little further on. The roads have been stuck down and edged with some grass flock, and I've assembled a ratio level crossing gate kit and fitted it to the Cato crossing pieces next to Scraptoft station. Here's a view from the other direction. I've added some fencing now, ratio brown strips, which I like best of the various fencing I managed to get. Unfortunately, I could only get one pack of the ratio brown fencing. Otherwise, I have a pack of ratio white fencing and a couple of packs of Kestrel brown fencing. But the Kestrel fencing doesn't really have any posts, so I can't see how you're supposed to attach it to the layout, so that's going to require some extra work if I'm going to use that. Here's another view of the corner with the Kestrel items and the ratio fencing. There's definitely room for improvement here with more painting and vegetation due at some point. And here's a rebuilt Royal Scot loco pulling some goods wagons through Scraptoft station. Not really suitable duty for a Royal Scot, but I hadn't received any passenger locos from the UK at this point, so goods trains were all that I could run. And here's a final view with the Royal Scot coming across the level crossing and a Ginty tank loco in LMS Crimson livery pulling some box cars up on the viaduct. Coming up in future parts of this series, more scenics, including a tunnel and a hill, some details of the pre-amalgamation rolling stock I was able to get from the UK, and the installation and weathering of a motorised Cato turntable in the yard area.